Guys, I've done it. I found every single morph for the brand new skill line that is coming sometime in the future, okay? And I'm here to share each of my findings with you. I haven't looked at it too much, but we're going to explore this new skill line together, and we're going to have some fun doing it, because hopefully this will be an amazing addition to the Elder Scrolls Online, because, this game is in serious need of some new content, so let's see what Zenimax has delivered to us, and yep, you guys might want to get comfortable, because we're looking at the morphs and the skill and the passives and stuff. So it might take a while to get through. So I recommend that you get comfy like me. So get some popcorn or whatever. Okay. So as you can see, here's just a bunch of the new abilities slotted in their morphed form. It's very interesting looking. I do like the color palette that they chose with this new skill line, and uh, I just want to see come on, guys. I just want to see the new skills. So this brand new skill line is called the Unorthodox Combat skill line. It's a very interesting skill line. The whole premise of it is to just be extremely offensive. It's to do a lot of damage by the looks of it. And yeah, so I have some exclusive footage of some of the new abilities as well, which we'll go over when we get to those abilities. But yeah, first let's look at Cutting Light and its morphs. So as you know, we have Cutting Light here. This was the original morph that we found, but I found the morphs original ability, okay, and then I found the morphs for it. And well, if you don't know, basically it's like Crystal Weapon, but they fixed the issue where if you're too far away from your target, it does like melee damage, spammables or whatever, and they were upset with that, so they nerfed Crystal Weapon, but then they seem to have brought it back. So like they're basically just fixing a problem that wasn't a problem in the first place. Anyways, let's take a look at that new animation real quick. Okay, guys, so we have the basic version of Cutting Light. I'm gonna be honest, I actually made this one by hand because I couldn't find the actual file of it, but I know how Zenimax likes to copy and just paste animations and stuff, so I just made this one. I spent some time in my editing software and just made this. But this is what it looks like, 100%. So yep, this is literally that simple. It just literally steals the animation of Crystal Weapon and instead puts like this fire glow on your swords or whatever you have it on, which is interesting. And I reckon it looks the exact same for the morphs, just maybe different colors. But yeah. All right, so here's the first morph of it. The first new morph of Cutting Light is Smoldering Weapon. So this one, envelop your weapon in a vengeful light for 10 seconds, causing your next 2 direct damage attacks to deal additional damage based on how close you are to the target. At 25 meters or more, deal 3,286 flame damage to your target. This scales up to a maximum of 145% more damage to targets closer than 25 meters away from you. While slotted, every third cast of a direct damage ability applies the burning status effect to its target. Okay, so this is the new morph, and it says the new effect is increase the damage. The morph no longer affects just your light and heavy attacks, but now affects all direct damage sources. Ooh, that's pretty interesting. So I used Dizzy Swing as an example last time, I think, for this. And so it looks like every third cast of a direct damage ability will apply to burning stats effects. That didn't change. But now it looks like you can actually apply this, this damage boost to a skill itself. So you can empower your skills now with this ability, which has a lot of potential, I think, for a lot of extra burst damage. So if you are packing like slower attacks like Dizzy Swing, you'll get more bang for your buck if you just have this on the back and you have this active when you cast it, because that's 3,286, and that scales up based off of your offensive stats. So that's a lot of extra damage, guys. I like this morph, and I think this could bring a lot of utility to the table. But we have a lot to go through, so let's move on to the next one. So the next morph of Cutting Light is called Cutting Plasma. Envelop your weapon in pure light for 10 seconds, causing your next 3 light and heavy attacks to deal an additional 2,396 flame damage to your target. While slotted, every third cast of a direct damage ability applies a burning status effect to its target. New effect removes the damage scaling from this ability. Oh, I see. So, like the original one, the original Cutting Light, right? That had this where 145%, because they were complaining about Zenimax was upset that Crystal Weapon was doing like melee damage at range, and I guess they like I said, they wanted to solve the problem, so they just made this morph, I guess. I mean, it's okay, but I think Smoldering Weapon's still going to be a little bit more useful because that now also applies to your direct damage attacks. But I mean, if you're weaving a lot at range, this can be a really powerful morph. So I think both of them have their place, and I'm very curious to see what people are going to do with these abilities. So our next ability that we have the morphs of is called Gun. Okay, if you remember this ability, I remember. Yep, as you can see, it looks it was pretty overtuned. They still haven't changed the values of this ability, so hopefully the morphs aren't as broken. You know, I don't know. Let's find out. Let's look at the first morph. It's called 50 BMG. Okay. Um, Summon technologies unknown, conjuring an anti-material uh to blast foes with a masterfully aimed shot to the head, dealing 5,500 physical damage. This attack is always a critical strike. Targets below 90% health take up to 400% more damage from this ability. New effect. This ability no longer affects targets with the hemorrhaging or major defile, but instead the damage is substantially increased and is always a critical strike. Targets that take damage from this ability that are under 90% health take up to 400% more damage. So it looks like they didn't quite finish the description of the skill. It must have been a typo on their end. But, other than that, I can see what they're trying to say. This ability might be a little bit powerful because this base ability, Morph, kind of does more damage than an ultimate, which is insane. But, when you're summoning an anti-material rifle, I mean, of course, it's probably going to do that much damage. So, that is logical, and I guess that does fit in with the lore somehow. And Zenimax knows what they're doing when they make these abilities. So honestly, it looks pretty impressive. Let's take a look at that let's see it in action. Let's see it in action. Okay, so here we have the new 50 BMG ability, and this is its showcase. I managed to dig this out of the files, so let's see it in action. Oh, that looks like fun. Hold on. All right. So, yeah, looks like he just pulls out an anti-material rifle and then just blasts him. And since this is ESO, it's gonna automatically track the target. So like this is gonna be very difficult to dodge. I mean, look at that. Watch. That's gonna be really tough to dodge, honestly, guys. I don't know, but that is pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie, that is really cool. I'm excited to use this morph. Yeah, that's gonna be really hard to dodge. Okay, guys, the other morph of gun is called AA-12. Okay, oh. Summon technologies unknown, conjuring a shotgun to blast targets in a cone in front of you, dealing 2,500 physical damage and afflicting the target with the hemorrhaging status effect. Additionally, targets affected by this ability are snared by 60%, set off balance, and are afflicted with major defile for 10 seconds. Okay. Reducing their healing received health recovery by 15%. Targets hit with disability that are below 50% health take 100% additional damage from this ability and are stunned, regardless of crowd control, nullifiers, or inherent entity class effects. Does that mean you can stun people off cooldown? And does that also mean you can... That looks like it... I think that means you can stun bosses now. Like the big guys, the big bosses with a lot of... Yeah, looks like you could do that because... I don't know. That's what it sounds like. Because you have crowd control nullifiers, so that would be like CC immunity, and then you have entity class effects. Okay, so this is the first that we're seeing of an ability like this, where you can just stun whatever the heck it is, as long as they're below 50% health. So the new effect converts ability into an area attack in front of you, significantly increases the damage and snares targets by 60% that are affected by this attack and sets them off balance. This attack deals 100% additional damage to targets under 50% health. So it's also an execute ability. Okay, that's very nice. And stuns the target regardless of crowd control nullifiers or inherent entity class effects. So, yeah, safe to say that this is an extremely, extremely powerful ability. If it's spammable, it does have a pretty high cost of 4,570, but I think you can navigate around that with enough cost reductions and stuff, and you have yourself a very, very super, very solid spammable. And I could see this being a lot of fun to use, especially in PvP. But yeah, let's take a look at this ability in action. Okay, guys, so here's the showcase of the new AA-12 morph of the gun. And yeah, let's see it. All right. That was really fast. Okay, that looks really powerful. Let's, so yeah, this is a really powerful looking ability. Like he just whips out a shotgun and just blasts him. And the AA-12 is fully automatic, so you get like 3 shots out of one ability. So I can see this being really really strong in close quarter situations. So like if you're in like a keep fight or whatever and you turn the corner and there's a bunch of guards there, you can just spray this in the area and take them all out, which is really strong. And it does have a pretty big cost, but it is to be expected for an ability as powerful as this. Remember, this is an execute too. So if they're like low on health or something, it, and it's gonna stun them regardless. So yeah, a lot of power coming out of this one ability, as you can see. So yeah, pretty good, pretty good. Okay, guys. Next up, we have the morphs of warping pulsar. So if you remember this one basically like it's like a proxy det, but it goes off like 3 times and stuff, and it sets people on fire and stuns them, and it recasts itself. So let's see the morphs. Let's see the morphs. So the first morph that we have is called Singularity. Okay. It's targeted on the ground, has a radius of 14 meters on the ground, and it costs 3,670. So collapse reality and form a singularity on the ground, slowly pulling all nearby enemies towards its center for 7 seconds, removing 55 frames per second. Ooh, we got some more frame action from the target while inside the singularity's pool. Targets pulled beyond the event horizon are disconnected from the server and cannot log back in for 45 seconds. When the ability expires, all targets within 14 meters of the singularity take 8,000 oblivion damage. Recasting this ability while a singularity is already active will instead cause the caster to implode and disconnect them from the server for 45 seconds. Um, it's a lot to unpack. So what I gather is it's like you can cast Dark Convergence now, but also it just disconnects you from the server, which is an added bonus, and it removes frames from people. So that's interesting. But what's also interesting is if we go, so a new effect can be targeted on the ground no longer sends out pulses, pulls enemy towards the center, reducing frames, blah, 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 and also punishes the caster if they try to cast a singularity next to another singularity. So if there's already one of these on the ground, that means you get disconnected from the server from what it looks like. Which, I mean, is kind of fair because imagine if you're just getting pulled all the time by like 4 or 5 of these, that would be kind of overpowered. So now it punishes people for trying to spam this or, you know, using more than one or, trying to use group utility with it. Like if a ball group was running this, they would have an issue because you'd have that one guy that would just cast it and then disconnect himself from the server. So honestly, it's a good relationship between what you get with the positives and the negatives of this ability, and it's a pretty interesting morph, very interesting. And no, I don't have any footage of this one, unfortunately. But you can probably imagine it looks like Dark Convergence. So let's move on. The next morph that we have of Warping Pulsar is Corrupted Pulsar, okay? So become the center of the universe and implode, sending out 2 powerful pulses over 6 seconds, dealing 4,500 flame damage after 3 seconds and 6,000 fire damage. Flame and fire damage? What the? After 3 more seconds, afflicting targets hit with the burning status effect and stunning targets that took damage from both pulses for 2 seconds. Killing a target while this ability is active increases the damage done by this ability by 50% and automatically causes this ability to recast itself at no cost. Bonus damage carries between recasts of this ability up to a maximum of 450% extra damage. Bonus damage stacks are lost over time while out of combat. Interesting. So I did have a question about that with the original morph, but it looks like it's been answered. So it was whenever you kill someone, does the 10% more damage stack every time you kill someone with this, or does it just like carry over so it's only a constant 10% more damage? Looks like it's only a constant 10% more damage at the base ability. But with this morph now you can stack it and it's a bigger bonus as well. So it reduces the duration and number of pulses, but increases the damage. And bonus damage now carries over between recasts. So this thing is just gonna manage itself in the background as long as you're getting kills, which is amazing. And that's really strong. And I can see it being a solid choice for a lot of builds. And honestly, if like look, it's good. It's good. Just look at it. It is good. Okay. And I do have footage of this. Let's look at it. Okay, guys, here's the pulsar, and yeah, let's see it. I don't I don't need to remind you guys that this is like pre-alpha, alpha footage. That's why they're in stiffy mode. But also like this does look kind of funny because they're probably like some sort of testing going. Very interesting. Very interesting. So you see, looks like a new animation. Something's happening here. But I mean, you are literally summoning like a pulsar, so I mean weird stuff is gonna happen, like space time stuff. And then so as you can see, let's see. So he casts it, right? Yep, but it does look pretty fun, and this thing's gonna automatically recast itself if it gets a kill. So, and it's gonna also increase the damage, and you just turn into a strobe light, which is pretty cool. Yeah, that looks like fun. That looks like fun. I'm excited to use this. Okay, guys. So now we have the rubber band. If you remember this one was basically like you just um, well, it was pretty good. It was pretty good, and I'm just curious to see what the morphs are. So let's go ahead and get into that. So the first one is um, what is this? So we've already had some errors with some of the abilities, but I don't know what I'm looking at when it comes to this ability. And this one definitely has a lot of errors. And well, let's see how much of it we can read. It looks like it says Zenimax there at the top. I don't know what that ability is, like that picture is. But okay, so this is break the fourth wall and barter with hungry powers, restoring 600% of your maximum health, magic, and stamina, and render yourself invulnerable to all incoming damage for 6 seconds, dodging all incoming attacks for 6 seconds, and become immune to immobilizing effects for 6 seconds. After 6 seconds, and then it gets corrupted. And it looks like it's just like a little bit of something going on down there. It says removes all costs and okay, if this is like what the ability does in the game, I don't have any footage of this, so I really don't know what this ability does. But you know, maybe I don't know, guys. I really don't know. I don't know what to say. I'm just confused because we have a little bit of corruption going on here with the ability. um, but probably very strong. Probably very strong. If it's a morph of the rubber band, it's probably very strong. So, I mean, let's move on. Next morph of the rubber band we have is called lag switch. Okay, so it's targeted on yourself. Of course, costs 6,000 this time. So, looks like that new cost is 6,000 health. So no longer teleports you, but instead returns you to the position where the ability was cast from. Not moving from the position where the ability was cast from deals damage to all attackers. Interesting. Defy the laws of reality, bartering with hungry powers, restoring 100% of your maximum health, magic, and maximum stamina. And render yourself vulnerable to all incoming damage for 6 seconds, dodging all incoming attacks. Yeah, we get it. And then, okay, so after 6 seconds, return to the spot where the ability was cast from. If you did not move during the 6 seconds, deal 4,000 magic damage to every enemy that attacked you during the 6 second period. Ooh, so it's like a shade, but it automatically tosses you back to where you moved, like where you casted it from. So, and if you didn't move after you cast it, it just kind of explodes and deals damage or something to people that attack you. I don't know. It's very interesting. I like that. I like that. You could do some fun plays with this. Not only are you invulnerable to literally all damage, but at the same time, you could just kind of lag back, I guess, lag back to the position where you originally cast it from. So this ability looks like a lot of fun, and it looks like a great recovery tool as well for resource management. So that's always a plus. Let's move on to the next ability. No, I don't have footage of this. Look, some of these you can't find footage for. Others you can. Okay, so for the next ability, morphs, we have connection interrupted morphs. Okay, so this one was the crowd control, so this was the stun. Okay, let's see what the morphs are. So the first one is called Control Alt Delete. It's targeted on the enemy, 7 meters, 5,457 cost. Magic maybe. Anyways, disrupt your foe, calling upon the legendary powers of Rich Lambert and Gina Bruno to shackle an enemy to the ground, stunning them for 5 seconds and dealing 675 frames per second and reducing their resource recovery by 100% while the stun persists. Targets that fail to break the stun before it expires are disconnected from the given server. This stun cannot be blocked or dodged. Okay, so it looks like removes the frames per second cost and summons Gina Bruno in favor of David Vonderhaar, increasing the number of frames the target loses when stunned. I mean, if you were gonna summon Gina instead of David, I guess yeah, you would. That would result lore wise, that would result in more frames lost. So glad to see that they're keeping with the role players and stuff. So it's always nice. But this one looks really good. So that might be hard for people to break away from since you literally are gonna have no frames. So you might not even be able to break away from it. So honestly, and it doesn't cost you any frames to cast. So that's a really strong morph. Let's see if the other one holds a candle to it though. Let's see. So the other morph is called Alt F4. Um, Costs 5,050 frames. Okay. Let's just look at the new effect. No longer drains the target of resources and frames, rather crashes their game. Of course it does. Of course it does. Okay, so I might end up using this morph rather than Control Delete because if you could just auto crash someone's game, you have a little bit of an advantage in a fight. So honestly, disrupt your foe, calling upon the legendary powers of Rich Lambert, David Von Der to shackle an enemy to the ground, stunning them and crashing their game. This stun cannot be blocked or dodged. Yup. It's nice to see that every single class now has like a really solid stun that they can use. So they don't have to rely on unbalanced, class abilities that aren't CCs but are supposed to function like CCs but don't actually do anything. Like, I don't know. But yep, it's nice to see that now everyone has access to a tool that they can use to just root people in place and stun them. And also, it crashes their game, so there's always a bonus. Alright, guys, so now we have the, looks like the Alt F4 morph of this. So this is an ad, so like he's not gonna be able to break the stun because ads don't break the stun. So we might actually get to watch him get disconnected from the server. Let's see. Oh yeah, he didn't break it. He didn't break it. He's not break. He didn't break it. Nope. He's yep. There he goes. He's gone. Yep. So just just removes him from the server as described. Just disconnected. I mean, that's a little longer than 5 seconds, but when you're removing someone from the server, it of course takes a little bit longer, so it's more like 7 seconds, and then he just kind of disappears. But yep, that's a weird animation. This is like he's trying to take the fossilized animation or something. Goodness gracious. Yep, and then he just goes away. But yeah, it's nice to see a CC like that. I mean, he's in stiffy mode, so he's not gonna move when he gets stunned. But interesting nonetheless. Nice to have a stun on all classes. All right, guys. Next, you know what it is. We have Tomater, okay, and its ultimate ability morph. So this is the ultimate of the Unorthodox Combat skill line. And last time we looked at this was a really, really fun ability to look at. And I'm very excited to see what the morphs are. So let's look at them. So the first morph is called Savage Tomater. Okay, so Reach through time and space, calling upon the animated character Telmeter to ravage an area, dealing 25,000 physical damage to all enemies within 26 meters of the targeted area and stunning them for 3 seconds. After casting, increase your physical and spell resistance by 6,500 per enemy hit. The damage and resistance gained is increased by 65% per enemy hit, up to a maximum of 6 times. If there are more than 6 enemies in the affected area, the cost of the ability is refunded. Ooh, he definitely did get savage. Increases the damage, stuns enemies hit, and grants the caster resistances. That resistances is really, really cool. Like, that might turn into an off-brand corrosive, but only defensive-wise. But, I mean, if you could just literally follow this ability up with another uh, same ability, like you could just follow it up with another Savage Tomater. I mean, you basically have corrosive at that point. So, unless someone is in corrosive and then they don't die because it was corrosive. But, anyways, yeah, this ability yet again just gives you like increases the ceiling. Increases the floor for everyone as long as you have the DLC, and that's easily like maybe 120 DPS or something if you just spam this over and over again because you got 6 more people in the area. This is a really nice morph, and I'm excited to use this. I'm really excited to use this, guys. I don't know about you, but let's see the other morph, see if it's any better. So the next morph that we have is called Cow. Oh boy. Reach through time and space, calling upon the animated character Lightning McQueen to smite an enemy, dealing 33,410 physical damage to the target and all enemies within 26 meters of the initial target. The damage is increased by 65% per enemy hit, up to a maximum of 6 times. If there are more than 6 enemies in the affected area affected by this ability, then the cost of this ability is refunded. No longer summons Tomater, instead his best friend Lightning McQueen to strike a specified area, or specified target, my mistake. Increases the damage. Okay, so immediately I'm thinking Meteor, but better. Like a million times better. Because look at the damage on that ability, and, bruh, this might actually be better than Tomater. Honestly, we're just gonna have to. Here. I mean, I do have footage of this, which let's look at that real quick. Okay, guys, so here we go. We got Kachow. This is the other morph of Tomater, and I'm excited to see this ability. I'm excited for you to see it. I've seen it once because I had to pull the file out, and just take a look. Just watch. Now that's pretty cool. It's like exactly like Meteor, but better. I love how he says "Kachow" right before he hits Lou. It's perfect. It's perfect. Anyways, okay, so this ultimate is going to be a lot of fun to use. And remember, guys, this has increased damage, and also it can recast itself if there's more than 6 enemies. Looks like there's 4 there, so that's basically a guaranteed kill. Ooh, look at that animation though. Look at this new sparkly effects. It's like, I don't know. That's cool. That's cool. Nice to see Zenimax playing around with some of their new stuff. Interesting. And then there he is. And then they're just dead. Yep. That's a really strong ultimate. I mean, those guys probably had what, like 30k health. Like, yeah. That's just yep. Rip. Yep. I love it. I love it. I'm excited to use this. This might be better than Tomater. But yeah, guys, all these abilities are insane. I'm excited to use them. We still have the passive abilities to go over, so let's take a look at those real quick, and then we'll wrap up. So the first passive ability that we have is called LAN Cable. Okay, so it says it has 1 level. Okay, so 80% chance to not get disconnected from the given server when the specified effect is applied. Ooh, so wait. you have to buy the DLC in order to counter the getting removed from the server part of abilities, and even then, it's an 80% chance, which is a pretty good chance. That's interesting. That's interesting. So this is your hard counter to not being able to CC break out of Alt F4. So that's nice. And this is the first passive that you get. Like you have to buy it though, but like this is the first passive that you unlock. So just having this is pretty good. It's pretty good. Next passive is called Powerhouse. Okay, each unorthodox combat ability slotted increases your magic and stamina recovery by 10%. I don't really know why this needs to be a passive when you have the existence of the rubber band and its morphs, but if you don't want to slot that ability, 10% is a lot of additional recovery to have on top of everything else. So, yeah, that's pretty good actually. Next one is Crushing Blows. Your light and heavy attacks scale more dramatically based off of your highest offensive stat. Ooh, ooh. So they nerf light and heavy attack weaving, but then they release this to solve the problem of not having enough light and heavy attack damage. Very interesting. Your game is weird, Zenimax. I don't know why you do this, but I'm glad that. I mean, why do we have to pay for it? Like, why do we have to buy a DLC to get back what you nerfed? It's kind of stupid. But I mean, here it is, I guess, and fixes the problem. So I guess they just sold us a solution. I mean, it depends on how much. So it says dramatically. So it might actually make your attacks more powerful than they used to be, like before update 35. It's interesting. I don't know. This hasn't come out yet, so I can't test it. The next passive that we have is called Hidden Frenzy. Okay. While you have an unorthodox combat ability slotted, your stealth multiplier is increased by 3 times. Oh my goodness, guys. This is okay. Sorry. They nerfed the stealth damage multiplier, so you used to be able to do 3 times more damage whenever you pulled off a successful attack from stealth, but now it's 1.3. But this reset. So yet again, they're giving us a solution to a problem that they made. So I mean, here it is. I can't really complain because I'm gonna get the DLC anyways. But finally a fix. But I don't know why they can't just use this passive for something else. But and like bring back the original 3 times damage multiplier, but I guess Zenimax is gonna do Zenimax, and they need to I don't know. And the last passive that we have is called Self-Awareness. Each unorthodox combat ability that is purchased increases your chance to dodge any incoming attack by 1%. Wow. Okay. That is a little. Okay, no, that's just overpowered. That's just overpowered. There's nothing around that. So if you have any of these abilities purchased passively, you just at max get 5% chance to dodge any attack that comes your way. Does that include? That has to include everything because that's how dodge works. So even area attacks you can now dodge if you get lucky. No, Zenimax, you can't do this. This is too powerful. This is too powerful. No. No. Guys, I need to tell them not to put self-awareness in the game or something. This is too strong. This is overtuned. Come on. Come on, Zenimax. Come on, Zenimax. I know you can do better. Come on. Yeah, I guess that does cover it for all the abilities and their morphs and even the passives. Overall, I think the unorthodox combat skill line is going to provide a very interesting dynamic to, all kinds of combat in this game. And, apart from the extremely overpowered and broken self-awareness passive, I think everything else is okay. Some of it needs to get looked at, and they need to fix the corrupted file or whatever. Because how am I supposed to know what that ability does when it's just a bunch of... Look, how am I supposed to know what this ability does? What is this? You need to fix it, Zenimax. You need to fix your game. Like, you need to fix your game before you release this. So please fix your game. Please. But overall, I am very excited to see this new skill line come out. Like I said, this is like far, far in the future, and this is like pre-alpha, alpha, 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 you know, beta stuff. So it's a bit of ways away from coming out, but it's nice to at least have a new skill line. Something new to play with for a little bit, and yep. I just can't wait to use all of the, like, this is gonna be so much fun to use all of these, except for that self-awareness passive. That's kind of broken. I mean, look at that. That's overtuned right there. Okay, but yeah, yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Have a good night.